So last night we were getting ready to go to bed, and my wife happened to open up her weather app, and she had indicated, "Wow, I think it's going to, really severely storm in the middle of the night." And I kind of looked at her and rolled my eyes a bit, and was kind of like, I'll believe it when I see it. I think that's probably one of the things that frustrates me more than anything else is when you log on, you watch a weather forecast, and they say it's going to rain, and you get excited for it, and it gets closer and closer and closer, and then it actually doesn't. I know the work of a meteorologist is pretty difficult and taxing, but it's still really frustrating for me when I see that, because you get so excited to see something or to experience something, and then it just doesn't come to fruition. It was interesting. I thought about that a lot as I read my devotional today. I came across two scripture passages. The first one, pretty familiar, in Jeremiah, where we hear the proclamation, "For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future." And I think especially in light of where we are now, looking at kind of starting to try to get back to normal and to begin to reopen things as we can. And I know that a lot of us probably have this burning angst inside of us to kind of know, we want to know answers to things. We want to know answers to the severity of the pandemic. We want to know answers to what can reopen and when it can reopen and what's it going to look like when it reopens. And I think it's part of a natural human tendency and process to want to know those things. And honestly, I think to want to know everything. And that's okay. And it's a good thing to be inquisitive and to study and to learn and to be curious. But I think for a lot of us, even beyond this, that desire or that need to know can become a hindrance a lot of times. It paralyzes us from action or from doing things or moving forward in life because, we have to know everything before we can do something. I know for me, and particularly, it's so much of a paralyzing thing to have to want to weigh out every potential benefit and consequence of every potential decision that you could be making. And I had a seminary professor that said that you would lead to paralysis analysis. You're so consumed with the idea of needing to know the ups and downs and the rights and wrongs of everything that it stops you from actually doing. And I kept reading through my devotional and came to another passage in Matthew where Jesus makes this reference, and he says, look at the birds of the air, and you see that they have their nests and they have their food. Look at the flowers of the field and how they bloom without anyone needing to tend to them. And then he says, how much more does the Lord your God care for you? It's a beautiful reminder for me that part of our faith, part of our belief, really holds fast to this idea, to this notion that we believe in God's overarching plan for each and every one of us, for the entirety of humanity, that we don't have all the answers to everything, and sometimes that's okay. That we have to step out in faith sometimes, and that's okay. That we proceed in life without having everything already planned and thought out completely and fully fleshed out, but that we know that the God that we serve, the God that we follow, the God who protects and guides and cares for us, still sees those things. That the very nature of the existence of God creates space for all possibilities and for life to be made in the midst of those possibilities. So my prayer for us this week as we continue to move forward in all of this is that you would hold fast to knowing that the Lord your God knows the plans for you, for me, for each and every one of us, and that even though it seems like a very confusing and complicated time, that truly there is still one that guides and directs our paths and looks out to provide exactly what we need in the right moments of every day.